I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with Southern stories of the macabre, creepy, and strange.
And I drink.
So what are we drinking tonight, Mitchell?
Our beer tonight is Speckled Trout American Wheat. Brewed for Old Black Bear Brewing Company, LLC, in Huntsville, Alabama, by Back 40 Beer Company, LLC, in Gadsden, Alabama. It's 4.75% alcohol by volume. Let's read the can. Our Speckled Trout American Wheat is a tribute to the bear's hard work. It boasts a delicate honey flavor and just the right crispness from the lemon zest added to the boil. The go-to beer when you want to really quench your thirst. And what I have to say is that, yeah, it's pretty freaking good. It's a good offering. I like that Back 40 made it because I really like Back 40 products. We've had them on the show before, a couple different offerings from them. We've tried some Old Black Bear originals. Didn't really care for them that much. But this one's really good. The honey and lemon flavors do come through, which adds a lot to it. It's kind of like, think Blue Moon, but with a less orange flavor. Let's put it that way, right? What do you say, Leah?
I agree with that assessment, but also, if you have the opportunity to actually go to Old Black Bear in Madison for brunch, their mimosas are like just the best thing ever. You can get like a bottomless mimosa for like what, $10 or something like that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
But they make it with like vodka instead of champagne, and it's
yeah, they make their own vodka there, and they will fuck you up.
Baby
They're
girl,
delicious.
bottomless mimosas made with vodka instead of champagne, and they make it with like delicious juices, and you can get it flavored. And
I had a blackberry one. It was real good.
Yes, they're so good. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Their food's good too. It was a good experience. I'm just saying.
It was an excellent experience.
Can you tell I'm a little hungry?
And this beer got a 9 out of 10 from me. It's good. I recommend trying it. Go pick some up. Speckled Trout American Wheat. Our shot in the dark for the night. We've had it on before. It's Deep Eddy Cranberry, bottled for Deep Eddy Distilling Company in Austin, Texas. 35% alcohol by volume. For the full review, refer to episode number 33, which was entitled Unidentified Flying Egg. It got an 8.75 out of 10. Majorly boosted by mixing this with ginger ale, which we're not doing tonight. We're just shooting it. So, it's good with ginger ale. It's not very good by itself, but we're going to take a nice shot.
I just think we don't like cranberry.
No, I love cranberry. You don't like cranberry. I do. This is just a really harsh vodka, though.
I like the smell of cranberry. I just don't think I like the taste of cranberry.
Well, I do. I like it a lot.
Cranberry Febreze is the best kind of Febreze. I will fight you on that.
It really is, though. Oh, God, it's so good.
It's a seasonal Febreze spray.
Yeah, like Christmas time.
At Christmas time, and I buy the shit out of that because it is the best Febreze, and I will fight you on that.
Well, that's it for the alcohols. Leah, what do we have next?
We're going to go directly into a funny place name. Are you ready to come with me?
Yeah, I surely am.
Well, we are going to go to Campbell County, Tennessee, and we're talking about Stinking Creek.
Ugh. I don't even want to know. Go ahead.
Okay,
Stinking Butt Creek. Hey.
No, just Stinking Creek.
Oh.
So Stinking Creek takes, according to Wikipedia, it takes its name from the nearby stream of Stinking Creek.
Oh, well, that's nice.
But the creek is actually named because, well,
it stinks.
Definitely, but why does it stink? So there's two different theories. I'm gonna start with the long dramatic one first, and I'm gonna roll on into what is probably the actual truth. Okay.
Excellent.
So, apparently, the winter of 1779 into 1780 was a really, really, really bad, cold, awful, no good, very bad winter. And the snow started in late October, and it didn't fucking stop for weeks and weeks and weeks. Streams froze over, and it got so bad that animals were just dying.
Oh,
and
God.
They got trapped in the snow and the ice, and lots. I mean, there's just animals had died in the cold.
Its animal carcass stank.
Yeah.
And I'm really upset.
For like months after the snow thawed, like the corpses, were all like no longer on ice all at the same time, and everything starts rotting, and it's just funk. It's just dead
funk.
Rotting corpse funk.
That is F-A-U-N-K. No, C-K. F-A-U-N-C-K.
Yeah, so they were like, oh, that creek is just stankin' because it has all the nastiness in it. And so from then on, it was known as Stankin' Creek. Other people say that the creek actually flows from a natural spring, and the spring has an unusually high sulfur content, so the water just naturally smells like farts because of the sulfur.
Gross.
So it's either a farty stream or lots of dead animals back in 1780. Your choice. Would you rather have fart water or dead animal water? Neither?
I was going to say, can I choose neither?
You can, just don't go to Campbell County, Tennessee.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't planning on it. Did you say a farty stream or a farty river?
Stream. It's
okay. If it's just a little stream, I can deal with it.
Hold on. No, it's a creek.
No.
Is a creek bigger than a stream?
I think they're pretty interchangeable.
A creek,
no,
a stream?
I think creek is like a colloquialism, and stream is an actual thing that feeds into a river. I think.
Huh.
I don't know. I don't fucking know. Geologist needs to hit us up somewhere.
I really feel an intense desire to go look that up now. So.
Well, I think creek is colloquial for stream.
I don't think you're right. I want to learn more about watersheds and natural river environments now. Thanks, Rich.
I mean, I don't want you to do that.
Okay, well, tough, because I'm gonna, but like not right now.
Yeah, thank you. We got other shit to do right now.
Yeah. We've got like 2 stories or something and a toast.
Oh, well, maybe we should get started on those.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start on our very first story of the evening.
Yay.
It is going to be ghosty. You ready for this?
I like
sir?
ghosties.
Okay. Well, we are going to Radford, Virginia, and we're going to be talking about St. Albans Sanatorium.
Albans?
Albans. A-L-B-A-N-S. Albans.
Oh, Albans. That's upsetting. I was expecting B-I-N. Albans sounded better to me. I don't know why. But sanatorium is one of those words that really rubs me the wrong way. It always has. Because I don't know. It just sounds like sanitize, which is we're trying to sanitize the people. But I don't know. It's upsetting. And it makes me uncomfortable.
I think it comes more from like the insane san.
Yeah. I get it.
And not sanitize.
I know what it's for. It makes me uncomfortable. The word sanatorium just, I don't know. It sounds like they should be processing sewage. And, that's how I feel. But I can't wait to get into this story.
Okay. All right. So, So St. Albans Sanatorium is located in Radford, Virginia. And lots of stuff happened in Radford, Virginia that kind of make it
Story
kind of a
over.
paranormal hotspot. You gotta let me continue.
Well, no, lots of stuff happened.
Lots of stuff did
Story
happen, and I'm
2.
going to tell you about it.
Let's go.
No. So the city was right on the New River watershed, and so it attracted, there's a lot of really good land there, fresh water, so it attracted a lot of people there, and it sort of grew up a city pretty early.
Okay.
But it grew up European settlers, and it also Native Americans that like lived there already, like the natives of the land.
I gotcha.
Right? Anyway,
They made a farty stream.
No, that's in Tennessee. But so basically the Native Americans and the Europeans fought over that area very hostily.
Yeah.
The competition to like just take over that area was very intense.
Because it was a good fertile area?
Yes. And it was a great place to be. And so attacks back and forth between them were very brutal. So in July of 1755, there's a group of Shawnee Native American warriors, and they basically attacked the colonists there in, I think they were calling it Radford by then, but I could be wrong. I couldn't figure out if they were already calling it that or if it was later established to be something else. But anyway, so the colonists there in that area got attacked by a group of Shawnee natives, and they basically killed 5 people and took a few others as hostages. Basically it was pretty brutal, and like they kind of gave some of the survivors like the decapitated head in a bag of the people that they just had to murder. It was
What?
rough. Like there was...
Start that over. They gave a decapitated head to whom?
The people that survived.
Okay. So it was like a threat.
Basically.
We killed everybody else, but you're alive to tell the tale.
Yeah.
But we are going to carve in a Nazi symbol into your forehead.
What?
Like from Inglourious Bastard. You don't worry about it.
I've never
Always leave one
that.
alive to tell the tale.
Gotcha. Cool.
You know what that is.
Yeah.
Good work.
All right. So there was a lady named Mary Draper Ingalls, and she was one of the people that was spared in that attack, and she was actually held for ransom in one of the Shawnee settlements. And before she was taken prisoner by the Shawnee, she was one of those people that had to witness the death of all of those other colonists.
Oh, yay. That's fun.
And basically... 2 of the people that were murdered were her mother and her sister-in-law's baby. They completely scalped the mother, and they beat the baby against the side of one of the cabins until it died.
Great news.
So it was real bad. It was... If ghosts are coming up in this area, some of them might be part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually, that Mary Draper lady did escape the Shawnee and went back to a European settlement of some sort where she continued to live on, and she told stories of what happened in captivity and stuff like that. She said that she had to abandon a baby that she had given birth to while they were, marching her across the wilderness. They said that they didn't feed any of the captives, and like she was held captive with another German lady, and the German lady tried to eat her.
What?
I don't know.
What?
The whole thing's a little weird. That's a story in and of itself that I kind of went down a weird rabbit hole of, and it just...
They weren't even starving them. The German lady was just crazy.
Yeah, she was probably just hungry. I don't know. Get a Snickers, German lady. You're hungry. You're not yourself when you're hungry.
Oh, God. You're a cannibal when you're hungry, German lady.
So that was one of so that massacre thing right there was something that lends creepiness to this site. And then, of course, there was a battle in the Civil War that took place in this area called the Battle of Cloyd's Mountain. And so it was...
Do you think they just misspelled Floyd?
No. Well, I mean, it's Floyd with a C. It's Cloyd. But that was a very violent battle.
Lloyd is a weird name. Like, you don't see a lot of double L's to start a word. You got llama.
Llewellyn.
Well,
that's 2 L's.
Yeah, but again,
lots of Welsh words
3.
start like that.
Well, Welsh is not a legitimate language.
I think the Welsh would really
Jesus
disagree.
Christ. Yeah, but most of them speak English. So, again, we have 3 so far that we can think of. Lloyd, Llama, and Llewellyn.
Excellent.
Okay, back to Cloyd.
So it was a very violent battle, and the Union Army artillery squad bombarded this settlement that's on the ridge where St. Alban stands today, and it, like, lots of people died. And you can also today at St. Albans, one of the most reported like paranormal activity kind of things that people report is that on the grounds you can hear rifle shots. You might smell gunpowder smoke, and like they see mists and stuff like that rise and sort of take soldier form, that kind of thing, like on the ground.
Soldier mist?
Soldier mist.
Oh, okay.
It's a shot in the dark.
Oh, shit. Hold on. There it is.
St. Albans itself was initially built as something other than a psychiatric facility. What was it originally?
A sanatorium.
It was built as something other than a psychiatric facility.
Right. A sanatorium. Where they process sewage.
Is a Fuck you. Anyway, was it originally A, church, B, a school, or C, a courthouse?
I want to say a school.
You are correct. Yay. Pour that shot, sir.
Oh, I already poured it, actually.
Hell yeah.
Well, I just thought, they've got all the rooms already, because schools have a whole bunch of rooms, so... There you go.
Lots of things have a whole lot of rooms.
Yeah, but neither a church nor a courthouse have that many rooms.
Depends on which church or courthouse you go to.
Okay, they might have a bunch of rooms, but they're not, like, identical like a school, where they can be used as, bedding rooms and all that sort of shit. Treatment rooms.
Ugh.
How was that?
Terrible. If you're going to get... deep Eddies, go for the orange or the
peach.
Lemonade.
The peach is the best.
One's good. I like the orange one a lot, but
we haven't tried all of them. They have like 20 flavors, so
yeah, the cranberry is not my things that make you go.
God, if there was a way to spell that, that would be the episode title. That is not my that is not my, and then in parentheses I'm going to have blurbering noise.
It's stuck on the back of my tongue and I can't get it off. It's awful. Anyway, once again, I just don't think I like cranberry. But anyway, why do I keep shaking like that?
Because you got that shot up in there.
I don't like that. Anyway, so St. Albans Sanatorium was in fact constructed in 1892, but it was first built as a Lutheran boys' school.
Yay, at least it was a boys' school. All them ladies trying to be book learned.
So it was started by a guy named George W. Miles, and he wanted to start this school because he wanted to, educate a class of future Southern gentlemen, real preppy kind of Southern boys kind of thing. Nice. That's what he was going for.
Frat daddies, we call them.
Yes, frat daddies, if you will. And he demanded absolute perfection from his boys. He wanted to make sure that they were performing just exceptionally in the classroom, and they had to be awesome at sports, and you had to meet these just insanely high expectations.
Listen, my boys.
Yes, and some of these, it just got bad. It was kind of a toxic masculinity circle, and made everything terrible there. And St. Albans kind of, the school kind of developed a reputation for being very competitive, very rough, where everybody gets bullied and people are basically condoning using force and that kind of thing.
Corporal punishment.
Well, but also like it wasn't just looking the other way while big kids were bullying little kids. It was expected of big kids to bully the little kids. You know what I mean? Like it was a very hostile environment for just everybody involved. And yeah, it was pretty rough there. And so that whole thing, there's a couple of like suicides and or homicides that are linked to that portion of the school period. Suicides mostly, because obviously if you're being driven to try and push yourself to academic levels or sports levels or that kind of thing.
Pressure. You're being pressured.
There's pressure at a very serious rate, and then there's also the whole being persecuted for just about everything, like bullying wise, you know what I mean? Like it's really rough. So that wasn't great. And let's see. let's see, after that Miles guy died in 1903, it stopped being so serious, and like 8 years after that guy left, the enrollment of that school fell so far down that they just had to close. So in 1916, a guy named Dr. John C. King bought the property, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to make the most bitchin' psychiatric hospital in the country, because he had worked previously as a superintendent of the Southwestern Lunatic Asylum, and he was like, dude, that place was terrible. The treatments weren't great. The way people were treated there kind of blew.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to make a rockin' psychiatric care facility that will give patients like a great place to heal and recover and like really become part of society again. So he sunk a lot of money into this. He made a lot of renovations to the school property. He even added like a farm and like animals and shit. And he to give the patients a proper place to exercise and have fun and play around and be people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they should definitely be people.
Indeed. So it started out as like a real good hell yeah, but it never turns out that way.
Hell
like
yeah.
It's always way worse when you like talk about any of these sanatoriums, because people can start out with the best of ideas and then it like, ooh.
And then you become a sanatorium.
Yeah, then you become a sanatorium. So basically the goal of delivering like really high quality mental care was not fulfilled.
Is it sanatorium or sanitarium?
Sanatorium. A sanitarium is where you put TB patients.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
No. I just had that thought.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Good
we've been fucking up this whole time.
No.
Okay.
But anyway, in the 1900s, like a big thing for like the new revolutionary psychiatric treatment was like you could induce a coma in patients by giving them too much insulin.
Yeah. A diabetic coma.
Yeah. Well, basically, and but like it was chemically induced instead of like a naturally occurring kind of thing. And so they would pump these people full of insulin, put them in a coma, and then like that would calm them down for a while, kind of like it basically led to people going brain dead.
Yeah, of course.
Or having lots of brain damage, and they thought that that was like curing them somehow, but really it was just basically wiping out brain function. Lobotomies started becoming a real big thing, and lots of those were performed at St. Albans. And unfortunately, a lot of those procedures left people, once again, either brain dead or actually just dead. Yeah. So there were lots and lots and lots and lots of people that died in this building.
Yeah. Once you hit lobotomies, you've gone too far.
And there were so many patients there and not enough staff that, like, sometimes, like, accidents occurred between the patients. There was, you know...
What do you mean, accidents?
Well, I mean, like, they would get in a
patients?
fight and someone would get hurt and die because there weren't enough staff to, like, control people. You know what I mean?
That sounds like it was on purpose.
So by, like, 1945, the patient-to-staff ratio... There were 48 staff members. There were 6,509 patients.
Yeah.
Like
in one building?
Well, it was a whole complex. But, like, how the fuck do you think that is enough people?
No, you don't.
How?
You don't think that. But you're making all that beautiful money that it doesn't matter.
Well, eventually, you know... the whole lobotomy thing kind of fell out of favor, and instead they started doing shock therapy there. So that's not great.
You know, in recent years, there have been studies that have said shock therapy is beneficial for very specific things.
Yeah,
and I don't know what they are. I just remember seeing that somewhere.
Yeah, like, I mean, it can actually be a legitimate thing for some people, but not just willy-nilly shocking everybody that had schizophrenia for funsies. Like it was specifically one of the most common treatments for schizophrenia, and it was just
and
bad.
It's not good for that.
No,
you need lithium for schizophrenia.
And the electroconvulsive therapy also had really bad side effects. So even just one treatment of that can leave people with like, it can cause them to seize so hard that they fracture bones in their bodies.
Yeah.
It can be tied to really severe memory loss and being unable to form new memories. And then spontaneous seizures. So you can have had that treatment one time and then you might just have a random ass seizure for no good reason, like later on. Like
an aftershock.
Like years later. That's, why? Just no. It's
because your synapses aren't firing correctly anymore.
So some of the most active rooms that the paranormal researchers that, like, you can go do tours of this place now, and they do like ghost hunting and whatever there. But one of apparently the most active rooms in the whole complex is some of the rooms where the hydrotherapy was conducted.
Oh.
So hydrotherapy sounds wonderful. You're like, oh, let's get in a hot tub. Hydrotherapy, girl. No, that's not how that was. It wasn't like hanging out in the spa and no. It was, they took these really long cotton towels. They dipped them in icy cold water, and then they basically like wrapped their patients up like a mummy in these cold ass big old towels, and then like to where they were immobile. They couldn't move on their own. They mummified them basically.
Yeah.
And then they strapped them to these like hot water table vat things and like just left them there for like days.
Awful.
Like days. There was another
deadly.
room where they like blasted the patients with a friggin' fire hose. You know, like just how is that therapy? It's not therapy.
I think they were just trying shit. Right?
I don't fucking know, but these people were fucking messed up in the head if they thought that any of that was useful for anybody.
No.
But like the treatments were so bad that suicide was pretty prevalent amongst the patients in St. Albans. And there's one bathroom in that area that is called the suicide bathroom, and there's like 4 spirits that are supposedly connected with that bathroom that still haunt it, and they're supposedly patients that killed themselves in that area because the treatments were so harsh and they couldn't keep going. So that's terrible.
Yeah. Some spectacular insight.
Yeah. Healthcare in America. What are we going to say, guys? I don't know.
What are you going to do? I bet they paid out the ass for that healthcare too.
I'm sure they did. The families, I'm sure, did. But
no, actually, healthcare wasn't that expensive relatively until pretty recently in our country's history. You know, you can look that up too. It's just price gouging. It is.
So in the 1990s, there was a health group called There's
doing great.
this place called CHS, and they bought St. Albans Sanatorium in the 1990s.
Awesome.
And they like had like stuff going on in there. I guess it was similarly some kind of psychiatric hospital. Of
Could it be
sort.
Carillion?
You're right, Carillion.
I mean, I don't even know how it's spelled. I'm just the way you're saying
Carilion.
Yeah, that sounds like Carillion to me. Or
Maybe
Carillion.
Carrie Lion. I don't know.
Yeah, Carrie Lion. I think that's right.
Anyway, they were using that site for a while, but in 2003, they basically were like, oh, this place is creepy and it's unuseful. And anyway, they basically abandoned it. They just didn't. Anyway, so a lot of people broke in. They had parties there. There was, spelunkers and urban...
Spelunkers?
Spelunkers.
Are there caves around?
I said urban spelunkers.
Yeah, but I don't know what urban spelunking is. Is that just going in somewhere and going, hey, I'm a spelunker. This is my cave. Like, I identify as a spelunker. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I think I was trying to think of another word, and I can't think of that word. So anyway, urban abandoned place looker-inners.
Yeah, that's probably good. Maybe urban geologist or something. Urban explorer.
Not it, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, you're doing great.
People that break into weird, creepy-ass places at night. And they did, and anyway. So eventually, St. Albans was sold to a guy that was actually a previous patient of the hospital. His name's Tim Gregory, and he owns the property now, and he's renovating it so he can form a
He's making it into a cave for his spelunking club.
He's transforming it into a research enlightenment center, which I have no idea what that means.
Disguised as a cave.
But anyway, he basically does an annual haunted house there. They let plenty of ghost hunters in. They do EVP sessions and go Google them. There is a whole website that you could go do whatever kind of ghosty bullshit you've ever wanted to do at St. Albans. They will take you through it.
In spelunking gear.
Yeah.
Don't forget your flashlight helmet.
So yeah, all of that, they're basically raising money to, completely redo the facility, I guess, to restore it. Lots of the different paranormal shows have been on, have filmed there, I guess.
They featured the caves.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no caves.
Oh, no. Seems like they're caves.
But yeah, basically, ghost-wise, the main ones that you'll hear a lot from St. Albans are, there's a couple ghosts in the bowling alley, which I didn't know they had a bowling alley, but sweet.
That's fun. They had a bowling alley at the psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, part of that whole exercising and having fun thing.
That's not exercise. I will say this because, okay, let's get personal here. I used to bowl quite a bit, okay?
Nerd.
Like, competitively. Like when I was a child, okay? But bowling is not exercise until you get to like game number 10, and then shit starts to hurt. So, I don't agree with you. I think they were just looking for a way to get drunk on the campus.
You don't have to drink to bowl, Mitchell.
Oh, God, you have to drink to bowl. As someone who did it for a very extended period of time, you have to drink to bowl. I think that's why I started drinking.
So you could bowl more?
Yeah. I mean, if you say people don't have to drink to bowl, like, it's why you just don't understand bowling.
It's because bowling's terrible. It hurts
Have
my
you ever
thumbs.
drank while bowling?
Yes, with you.
I don't agree with you. You had like a couple
tired.
of drinks, and that's not enough.
It was because there was only Yingling there, and it's okay, and I'll drink it if that's what we've got, but it's like not my favorite.
I don't think many craft breweries are, trying to penetrate bowling alleys.
Please don't use the word penetrate for no good reason.
Excuse me. Oh, there's always a good reason to say penetrate.
But anyway, your ghosts are going to be pretty standard.
Are they bowling ghosts?
No. A lot of them are like the victims of the hydrotherapy baths. You've gotten like, not you personally, but like they have taken like photos of full body apparitions there. They've recorded a lot of instances of EVPs and spectral fog. I told you about the spectral fog before.
Did you?
The soldier ghosts and
soldier
all
mist.
that stuff. Yeah, soldier mist and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different, hauntings there, and it's creepy.
Okay. Is that it then?
I am a little drunk. I'm a little tired. And I'm not sure that I even told that story right. But you know what? I'm gonna let it slide.
You did great. I mean, I'm not sure if you told it right either, but I enjoyed myself. Does that count for anything?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. That's all it took.
We're here to entertain. Let me entertain you.
Hey,
with a second story. What?
I was just going to say I'm already entertained, but hey, I'll take number 2.
Oh,
what
girl,
she
I got
said.
number 2 for you right here.
Oh, God.
Oh, a little bit of a trigger warning here.
Uh-oh.
The name of the story is called The Servant Girl Annihilator. Clearly, some people are going to get annihilated. If that's not your thing, cool. See you next week. We love you.
So people are actually getting annihilated.
But people are legitimately getting annihilated. This could get rough. This could get a little dark. So if that's not your thing, bye. But if it is your thing, hey, Texas folk, you have been suggesting this for a hot minute, and I'm going to do it just for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We're going to Austin, Texas, and we are talking about the Servant Girl Annihilator. So, the Servant Girl Annihilator was an annihilator. No.
Oh.
It was the name, the Servant Girl Annihilator, was actually given to this rash of
You
murders.
okay over there?
I'm drunk. Fuck off. It was actually given to this criminal by the very famous American author O. Henry.
Like the candy bar guy?
Well, I mean, I think the candy bar was named after him, but I'm talking about, like, the writer, like, The Gift of the Magi, O. Henry, that guy.
I thought that was from The Mummy.
Read, did you?
I thought that was from The Mummy.
No.
Because the Magi feature heavily in The Mummy.
I'm happy for them. But I'm talking about the short story, The Gift of the Magi, where
I'm talking
the
about
girl
Brendan
sells
Fraser.
her hair to get the watch fob, and the guy sells his watch to get the combs for her
I'm
hair.
talking about Brendan Fraser, where he's got a black book and a gold book, and they've got this key, and they're flesh-eating beetles, and that's what I'm talking about.
I don't think we're talking about the same O. Henry.
Well, we're talking about the Magi.
You know what?
saying.
Fuck it. O. Henry has nothing to do with this except that he was living in Austin at the time and was like, oh, the Servant Girl Annihilator sounds like a great name for this. So he named him that. But anyway. So basically, this guy or girl, I don't know, it's an unsolved case. So this person was responsible for up to 8 axe murders between 1884 and 1885.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk about it. So the very first victim of the Servant Girl Annihilator, her name is Molly Smith, and she was attacked on December the 30th of 1884. She was 25 years old, and she was a cook for a really prominent Austin family. Some of the socialites, she cooked for the family.
Okay.
And she was found outside of her employer's house. She was probably dragged out of her servant's quarters bed in the middle of the night while she slept. And she was left, her corpse was left next to the outhouse, and her body, and it was December, so it was kind of snowing there, and her body was laid out in the snow, and she had a giant axe wound to the head.
Jesus.
So that was the very first victim. So that was on December the 30th of 84.
Yeah.
Then 5 months later, like, nothing happens after this one incident. They don't figure it out. They don't understand what's going on, but, like, maybe it was just a one-off. Well, 5 months later, on May the 7th of 1885, there was a woman named Eliza Shelley. She was also a cook, and she was working for the family of a state legislator, and she was actually found on the floor of her bedroom in the family's, house. Her head had been completely split in two by an axe.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's disconcerting, uncomfortable. I don't know.
I think you should say
Bad.
unconcerting.
Yeah.
There we go.
Then on May the 22nd of 1885, so ramping up speed here, guys, we went from a 5-month cooling off period to, like, just a couple of days, or a couple of weeks, I guess, from the 7th to the 22nd. So on the 22nd of May, there was a woman named Irene Cross, and she was found brutally stabbed to death. She was nearly scalped, which was a bit of a departure from the other two.
Wow.
But in all 3 of these cases, the victims had been attacked while they were sleeping in bed. They were sexually assaulted, they were murdered, and they were mutilated.
So he's escalated a little bit as well.
Yeah.
If it's the same person.
Which is also kind of debatable, but they think the ones that I'm talking about, there are a couple that fall outside of this and a couple that maybe copycat kind of stuff. But for the most part, the ones that I'm talking about are the ones that are canonically accepted as the servant girl annihilator murders, you know. And so the killer happened to strike again, but it was a bit of a cooling off period again. So this next one happened in August of 1885. But the lady that was attacked, her name was Clara Dick. She was really seriously wounded, but she survived her attack. And she was able to make some statements to the police about who it might have been. But, like, I mean, really, she was attacked from a dead sleep. So there weren't a lot of helpful evidence or, you know, descriptions that she could give. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then later in August, on August the 30th of 1885, this is the murder that gets me the most. That, like, so there was a lady named Rebecca Ramey, and she was also a cook, and she was employed at the house of Mr. V.O. Weed, great name, and she was found on her bedroom floor. She was very severely wounded and bleeding, but she wasn't dead. They found her. She healed from her wounds, but across the yard from where she was sleeping, there was a wash house, you know, sort of another separate outbuilding.
Yeah. And
her daughter Mary worked there, and her daughter Mary was found there. She had been stabbed in the ear.
What?
With a very sharp metal object that they thought was, maybe they stabbed her in the ear with a screwdriver or a file. And so she was bleeding out the side of the head, and she died from blood loss shortly after being found.
Oh.
So, like, the murder was literally like stabbing someone through the ear hole into the brain. Like,
yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah. It makes my ears hurt every time I think about it.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so that lady was the victim in that one. And then, so it was August the 30th. Then, like, about a month passes. And then on Sunday, September the 28th of 1885, there's a guy named Orange Washington.
His name is Orange?
Orange. Orange.
Good luck playing the name game with him. Nothing rhymes with orange.
Orange.
No, don't do it.
Orange. Me, my, orange. Orange Washington.
Oh, God. Thank you so much.
So anyway, there's this guy named Orange Washington, and he is married to a lady named Gertie Vance. And then there were also two other women in the household, Patsy Gibson and Lucinda Body. They were all employed by the same guy named W.B. Dunham. And they had like a servant's house, basically, that was an outbuilding, and they all lived and slept there. And so they were all attacked in their sleep. All four of them were asleep in those servants' quarters outside the Dunham residence when this servant girl annihilator guy comes in and starts hitting them with an axe. So the guy first grabs Gertie, which is Orange's wife.
Right.
He grabs her and he takes her to a vacant lot about 75 yards away from the little house. So once Gertie's there, she'd been hit around a while, but she regains consciousness, and so she starts struggling, and eventually the attacker beats her to death with a brick, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so at that point, Lucinda, one of the other ladies that was living there, had sort of recovered from the initial like attack that she underwent in the house, and she like lit a lantern, and the attacker, whoever he was, saw the light and was like, well shit, that light's gonna bring someone out here. So he runs back into the shanty kind of thing, the little housey thing, and like yells at Lucinda like, don't light a light, put it out. And Lucinda's like, oh crap, this attacker person's still here. So she runs out of the house and is headed towards the main house, trying to get someone awake to like have people know, hey, servant girl annihilator's here, you know. But anyway, the servant girl annihilator guy tackles this girl, and she's like, oh shit. And anyway, thankfully, the Mr. Dunham guy, the guy who was the employer, had been woken up by all this screaming and axing and stabbing and stuff. And so he comes out and he was like, what in tarnation? And it's
was
Texas.
This Orange? Orange did this?
No, Orange was the husband of the Gertie lady that got hurt. Mm-hmm. This is Mr. Dunham, the guy that was the employer. Yeah. So he comes out and he's like, what in tarnation? He didn't say that. I just think it's
you've
Texas.
said it twice, so I feel like that was quoted somewhere.
It wasn't. There's no tarnation anywhere in sight. I'm ad-libbing, sir. Sorry. And so he's like, what happened? And Lucinda comes running around, and then the servant girl annihilator guy was like, oh shit, there's someone who might notice me, recognize me, whatever. So he runs away. And Dunham is like, oh shit, that was a servant girl annihilator guy. We really need to find this dude. So he, in the middle of the night, gets all of his neighbors rounded up, and they have a posse, and they search for this guy. They look for him, and they are trying to discover who, but anyway, they couldn't find him. It was unsuccessful. And they found Gertie Vance, the wife of Orange. She was dead. And then Orange also died from his wounds the next day.
You just never think you'd hear the wife of Orange. Anyway. Unless it was like a Game of Thrones character or something.
Yeah. But yeah, so Lucinda and Patsy made it, but they were, hacked, but they made it, but the other two didn't. So the police, were kind of, they were trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And it was an issue, but they weren't too upset about it because all of the people that were attacked had one thing in common.
What was it?
They were black people and and they were poor black people, basically. They were servants and lower class citizens. And so basically the police didn't give a fuck.
I was trying to think of a delicate way to say it, and I think I have it.
Okay. It better be delicate.
I kind of figured that they weren't white because I don't think that white people would have the courage to name their child Orange.
How about we name our child Orange?
Well, okay. I just realized I have to take that back because Gwyneth Paltrow named her child Apple. I fucked up. But they didn't name it Orange, goddammit.
White people, especially white celebrities, name their children some fucked up shit.
We should name our child Banana.
I'm in.
I'm sorry. See, I feel like I was racist somehow in
Mango?
there.
I don't know. I'm just saying, white celebrities need to calm their tits on some of these awful names. Moxie Crime Fighter?
I've never heard. Who is that?
Penn Jillette.
Oh. Yeah, well, he's fucking weird, though. He has a sex dungeon in his house.
Ew. I don't want to.
He does. You can see his...
No shame on people with sex dungeons, just not that guy.
No. Yeah, he's a fucking creep. And he's also never drank or done drugs ever. And it's no, there's something wrong with you.
Something very wrong with you. But anyway.
Also, a wonderful magician and comedian, but...
Indeed, but still no.
He didn't name his child Orange, goddammit.
Nope. And so anyway, basically the police were trying to figure it out, but there was no mass push for anybody to figure out who this was because, white people didn't really give a shit if black people were dying. As long as it wasn't happening to the white people, it wasn't their problem. Well, it was about to be their problem because the next people to die were Eula Phillips and Susan Hancock. So Eula Phillips was 17 years old, and she was sort of the daughter of the aristocracy in the area. Her grandfather was an original member of the Stephen Austin colony. So she was sort of well-to-do. And then Susan Hancock was also another socialite in that area. And they got killed. So all of a sudden, White Austin was like, fuck.
Yeah, so then they step up and they're like, hey.
They step all of this stuff up.
Did y'all know this was going on?
Yeah.
Because, the whole time I've been on the side of we got to find this guy.
Yeah, and then the entire black community was like, dude, you don't even know the fucking half of it. But anyway, so
they killed the wife of Orange.
They did, and Orange himself.
Yeah. Oh, they did kill Orange?
They killed Orange. Orange died in the attack. But anyway.
I was apparently not paying attention.
You were not. But anyway, this is a very racist excerpt from the Galveston Daily News that I'm about to read.
Start your recording devices now for when Leah runs for office. Yeah,
great. Anyway, but this is what the clip from the time period is, just to tell you how little these people give a shit about people of color. This is it. Okay, ready? Go.
Yeah.
Heretofore, the fiends have been satisfied with murdering and raping colored servant girls, but last night, as to start afresh after 12 months of bloody work, they murder and rape white women without apparent fear of detection.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's... I mean, it's cringy and awful, and it makes me mad. But anyway, so basically, the black community in Austin at the time was like, guys, like, this shit's been happening the whole time. You really need to, like, they had been up in arms. They had been forming like community watch programs and stuff like that. Like they're clearly targeting, African American servant women. Like, we gotta do something to protect ourselves. So they were already up on it before these two white ladies got murdered, and afterwards, finally the police were interested in who this could actually be. So after the murder of one of the earlier victims, the Mary Ramey girl, the police actually dispatched bloodhounds, and they tracked the killer from the scene of the crime to a stable that was about 2 blocks away.
Oh no.
And when they got to the stable, they found a dude in the stable, and that dude was an African American man. His name was Henry Taylor, and he was
Henry.
No.
Oh.
Just Henry. Some dude. Henry Taylor. But they commonly referred to him as River Bottom Tom.
Oh, Jesus. That sounds racist.
It does sound racist. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
But he was taken into custody, and he was a pretty big suspect initially because his feet were compared to a footprint that was found next to the body of Mary Ramey. And according to the police, this guy's footprint matched the footprint left by the killer pretty well, because he had a weird shaped big toe, and the print had a weird shaped big toe. So, like,
what was the shape? Was it like a triangle?
It just says an oddly shaped big toe.
It was a rhombus.
He was
oh god, a rhombus toe. I have made myself chuckle.
He was so much a suspect at the time that there's a sergeant named There's this sergeant named Sergeant C, and he told this newspaper called the Graham Leader that he was positive that Henry Taylor was the guilty party, that they had arrested the right guy. We're going after him. It turned out it wasn't him.
How'd they know?
I'm not sure, but he had an alibi and all of this other stuff, and it just didn't check out. So, like, he was real confident this fucked up toe guy was the guy, and it wasn't the guy. But the news of the arrest of this guy and the subsequent news that came out of it basically exposed some little known facts about the case that the general public didn't know before this time. So since the very first murder, the police kind of tried to keep it secret so only the police would know about it, but the killer actually had been leaving a footprint at every crime scene.
Yeah, with
probably
his weird
intentionally
toe, right? With his weird toe.
Well, they didn't tell you all of the story. Shot in the dark.
Oh, God. Hold on. Got it.
The specific footprint of the killer that was left at the scene of the crime was really fucking weird. What made it weird?
It's the rhombus toe.
The foot only had 4 toes.
Okay.
B, the foot had 6 toes. Or C, the foot had an incredibly deep scar.
How can you get a scar off a... Well, I guess there would be like an indentation or something. Okay, so that if I would think that if there was a weirdly shaped toe, then there would be a lot of toes. If anything, it would much more likely be a lot of toes than fewer toes. So I'll say 6 toes.
You're wrong. It was only 4 toes.
Man.
He had 4 toes.
So it was oddly shaped because there were only 4 of them?
Yes.
Well, that's not an odd shape. That is having 1 less.
Servant Girl Annihilator has 4 toes. Servant Girl Annihilator has 4 toes.
How long have you been preparing that?
Servant Girl Annihilator has 4 toes. Because Servant Girl Annihilator has a fucked up foot.
You made me spill the shot. God damn it. I need the water to chase this with, by the way. Give me that. Is there water in here?
I don't know. I've been drinking a lot of it.
I know. I see that. Hold on. Shut up.
Sorry, I'm singing weird things to Sally the camel. I apologize for everything
camel
that
toe.
just happened.
Oh, there's basically no water in this.
This is a terrible shot, y'all.
Oh, it's not terrible.
It's pretty terrible.
It's just not the best. Oh. Well, you can continue, I guess.
Okay. Well, the footprints revealed that the killer only had 4 toes on his right foot. But anyway, lots of people were arrested for these murders. Fucking lots of them.
Did they all have 4 toes on their right foot? Because otherwise, somebody's not doing their fucking detective work.
We're getting there, bitch. Anyway.
Can we just get there?
No. So there was a man that was arrested shortly after the Orange and Gracie murder, and his name was Doc Wood, and he was arrested in a field 8 miles away from Austin because he had blood on his shirt and his sleeves. The jury convicted him overnight.
Jesus.
He was guilty.
But did he have 5 toes?
It was overturned. It wasn't him. He had too many toes. I don't know if that's why he was acquitted, but yeah, he had more toes than necessary to be that guy. Anyway, but they arrested so many people that according to one of the New York Times articles that came out about it in December of 1885, over 400 men had been arrested over the course of a year in connection with those murders. So like shit was going down.
How many?
400.
400?
400.
That is way too many.
Way too many. And like different people were believing that some people thought that it was only the work of one guy. Some people thought it was a gang of people. Some people thought it was unconnected copycat kind of murders by a bunch of different people. At one point, even Susan Hancock's husband, so the second white lady that died, they their husbands, basically Susan Hancock's husband Moses and Eula Phillips' husband James, they were both brought up on murder charges because they thought that they actually murdered their wives instead of like the servant girl annihilator.
Right.
The James Phillips guy was actually found guilty. The other guy wasn't, but the verdict was later overturned because there's just, I don't know why.
He had too many toes, right?
There's too many toes, man. Yeah. Too many toes. But anyway, they arrested so many people, and it just like, it got to the point where in the community there that a lot of people believed that the killer was not a black person, that it was actually a white man. There were stories that this white guy had powers, that he was practicing voodoo or had magic that made him like invisible, or just, you know, like real, like he kind of had a lore going around him because people were fucking terrified.
He could go invisible?
Possibly. That's one of the things.
No, not possibly. No. Please don't say possibly. Say what? That's what they believed.
Well, I mean, yeah, they were terrified. They've made a ghost out of this guy, basically, because, they've arrested hundreds of people and they can't figure out who the fuck has been killing all of these people. It's terrifying, so you kind of build a monster around it.
I'm still upset that the idea that there's a weird-shaped toe means that it's just not present. That is fucking with my head.
You just need to calm down, man.
No, I'm upset that there's a weird
I have so much more to get through.
That sounds like one of the things that they leak to the media, but then they keep everything else under wraps.
Yeah.
You know? He has a weird-shaped toe. And by weird shape, we mean non-existent. Fuck off. Ugh. I'm just really upset I missed that question.
So, these rumors got even worse because... basically after the murder stopped in Austin, shortly thereafter, Jack the Ripper murder started happening in London. So It's a pretty common theory in people that are into this story to believe that whoever was the person that was killing all of those women in Austin, Texas, was actually the guy that was also killing people in Whitechapel in London.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I don't think so either, but it's a very well-known theory that a lot of people subscribe to. Because one of the theories is that there was one of the big suspects that you'll see in the like theories about who the servant girl annihilator was, is that there was a Malaysian cook that was detained and interviewed and was, anyway, basically... one of the lead suspects in the servant girl annihilator case. That person was also living in London at the time of the Ripper murders and was a Malaysian cook there. And he was also a suspect in the Jack the Ripper murders. So people are like, oh, is that a connection? And yeah, etc. Mm-hmm. Because they found the Malaysian cook. His name was Maurice, and he was employed in Austin in 1885, but he left town in 1886 after the murders of those two white ladies and left for London. So that's a possibility.
I think Orange faked his death, and he was the one doing it all.
Yeah, he axe murdered himself.
No, he faked his death.
But there were murders after those.
Yeah. He was still alive because he faked his death and he killed other people. He was really upset that he was named Orange for his entire life.
You gotta drop the orange, man.
No, that is so awesome. It really is, though. How would you not like to be named Orange?
I would like to be named...
Go ahead.
Leah. It's a good name. Anyway, there's another theory that one of the cowboys from Buffalo Bill's Wild West show was the one that did it. His name is Buck Taylor. Okay. And they have a connection between him, the servant girl annihilator, and the Jack the Ripper murders because he was on tour, and I don't know. That one seems a little weird to me, but that's another theory. But the one that I believe is the truth and that is pretty heavily favored by a lot of people. So on February the 9th of 1886, there was a guy that was arrested in Masontown, Texas, that's just east of Austin. And he was basically, so a drunk guy had kidnapped a woman from a bar and taken her to a nearby house. And the woman screamed so loud that everybody could hear up and down the street. And they like came after her, and the officer arrived and anyway went over to the house to rescue the girl. And basically when they broke inside the house, they found this guy. He was 19 years old. He was a man named Nathan Elgin, and he was struggling with a young woman, trying to beat her up and rape her, basically.
Good God.
And so the deputies, the sheriff came in, and they attempted to pull Elgin off of the girl, but he started slashing at him with a knife, being all hostile and shit. And anyway, basically one of the guys drew his gun and shot him to get him off of the girl, and the shot didn't like stop him initially, but it was enough to slow him down so they could like detain him to get him off of him. But he did die from that wound later the next day. But they performed an autopsy and an inspection of this guy and the body, and it turns out that he was missing the toe on his right foot. So a lot of people think that
that's the weird shape.
So the Austin police matched his footprint to the footprints at the scene. They claim to be a pretty exact match. So they were pretty confident that he's the one at the time that did it.
Pretty exact?
Well, I mean, I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to say they were 100% perfect, because I don't know.
Pretty exact bothers me.
Their thoughts of perfect might be way different from my thoughts of perfect. But anyway. So this guy was raping a girl nearby, attempting to rape a girl nearby, and was found with less toes than necessary, so maybe he did it.
How do you know if it's necessary when you've never experienced its actual necessity? You may not need it.
Toes.
You what?
I've broken lots of toes.
Yeah, but again, what? Okay, why is it necessary then? It's in the way.
It's really difficult to fucking balance if you don't got them.
I mean, I agree, but maybe he hasn't had a toe his entire life and he's got that shit down.
Well, it's very possible. Maybe he was living a full, glorious life without that extra toe.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's murdering all these people, allegedly, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so obviously they couldn't prosecute that guy because they shot him and killed him. So it's still an unsolved case. No one knows if he's the one that actually did it or not.
Well, did it all stop after him?
It did all stop, but it had stopped previously in Austin, because that happened like a few miles east of Austin with that guy.
But how long before? Okay. Well,
1885 was the last of the known. Yeah, so December 1885 was the last canonical
it's canon?
From the Servant Girl Annihilator. February the 9th of 1886. So only a couple months later was when that other guy happened.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was probably him then.
I personally think that it was him, but I could be very wrong. But then, like, the Jack the Ripper murders started happening, and people were like, oh, maybe it wasn't that Elgin guy. Maybe it was whoever Jack the Ripper was, so... Yeah.
No, I think they were just different people doing different things. All killing people, but, definitely different things.
Indeed. So that was the story of the Servant Girl Annihilator.
It was a fun story.
It wasn't a fun story.
Yeah, I mean, entertaining. Let's always caveat entertaining,
Yeah, well...
I should have done that.
Story.
Well, I enjoyed it, though. I had a good time. So,
I'm glad.
There's that. Well, I guess that it's toast time.
All right, well, I'm going to give you a toast. It's not good. Warning up front.
These are my favorites.
But we're going to work our way through it. We're going to embrace it. We're going to love it.
We're going to
toast
together.
it. All right? You ready to hoist your goblet high into the sky? Everybody out there in podcast land, we're toasting some ghostins, and we're toasting some murders. But we don't want to toast murders. Let's toast orange. Hell yeah,
Jesus.
orange.
Yeah, let's toast Orange, Washington.
Anyway, here we go. If you're looking for hauntings on the East Coast, St. Albans Sanatorium is delivering the ghosts. He ran amok in Austin and maybe caught a clipper. Could Austin's annihilator really be Jack the Ripper? Hey. No, it's the answer. But
Are you going to say Drake? You're supposed to say Drake.
Drink. Sorry.
Well, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't great, though. Oh, God. It wasn't that bad.
I was inebriated when I wrote that.
Yeah.
You are very rude to me, sir.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm listening.
There shouldn't be doubt. I am the queen of bad
God.
toasts.
This is what, episode 62, I think? I mean, there shouldn't be doubt. I've had a year of this.
You know what? We should publish a book of my best toasts.
Well, okay, it would be more
Leah's
of a pamphlet right
Toasty times.
now. We can have a flip book of we can animate your toast. And good God, some of those animations would be hilarious. Well, when I say we, I obviously do not mean me.
No. Me either, because I was never good at animation.
I've never had artistic skills, period. I can't draw shit. Ever. I've never been able to. Oh. All of my self-portraits came out looking like mannequins. You know. That kind of shit. It was bad.
You're the cutest mannequin, though. I love you.
Jesus Christ.
Yay.
Well, I think it's time to end it because Leah needs to be put to bed.
I'm very sleepy.
Yeah. So, thank y'all for listening. Follow us on all of your social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Search for Southern Spirits Podcast. We're there. Join the community chat on Facebook.
We're
That's where
having
most
so
of our stuff
much
happens.
Fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun there.
Lots
That's where
of
most of our
possum
shit
pictures.
happens.
Pretty
Mostly
great.
possum pictures. I keep asking Leah where she gets them, and she's like, I have my sources. She whispers to me.
My brother told me about a new account. It's not a new account, but it's an account that I didn't know about on Twitter called Possum an Hour. Like a
Don't
possum
give
an
them-
hour.
Don't
No,
give
it
them-
doesn't. I've never looked at this even before today, but my brother was like, have you subscribed to Possum an Hour? And it's like, no. What is this? He's like, they post a new possum picture every hour. And
There
it's
you
just
go.
a picture of an adorable possum. So
I'll
if you're
start
on
retweeting
Twitter,
them. I'll retweet them every day.
if you're on Twitter and you want to see a possum every hour, there's a possum every hour for
There you go. And send us any questions or personal stories to our email address, which is southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com, or to any of those social medias. We will accept them there. We need them for Midweek Minis, which is our mini series. If you haven't checked that out, we have a lot of fun over there.
It's
Get
lots
kind
of
personal.
fun.
You know, it's just a good time. We've had some questions about postcards recently. If you have any postcards or other fun stuff you want to send us, send that to our P.O. Box, which is P.O. Box 1743, Hartselle, Alabama, Hartselle 35640. And also join our Patreon, patreon.com/Southern Spirits Podcast. Give us a little bit of money if you want to. I mean, that's up to you. But we would
please
enjoy
do.
it. Yeah, and tell all of your friends what we do and how much fun we have. And we will see y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.